What's going on? See you at the movies. It's your man Pierre Josson Jr.
And Darlene.
And this is The Wine.
Zam.
Hey, with that wine on, let's go.
Cheers.
Cheers. So,
we have red wine today.
Red wine?
Because we're classy.
Gotta be fancy. You know, we out here looking good too with the glasses, the glow, the melanin. It's popping right now.
Popping.
And I've been in the gym, so you know, it's cut. Is it showing a little bit? Yeah.
Oh my gosh. He literally did push-ups before we doing this video.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta look. You gotta be 100% everything you do. Over 9,000.
Mm-hmm. So guys, today we are talking about His House.
His House stars Wunmi Mosaku and Sope Dirisu. And you might know Wunmi from Lovecraft Country, which is, you know, it was tearing up HBO. Everybody's been talking about it. Especially talking about her because she's just a powerful actress.
Powerful.
Let's talk about, what did you think about the movie? How'd you feel about it?
I loved it, guys.
This is the first?
This is the first?
The first.
The first time that I actually
loved it. She loved it.
That we reviewed. Yeah, I mean, it was just, there are so many amazing elements to the movie, facets.
Mm-hmm.
It was just incredibly, it had so much depth. I mean, just the soundtrack, the cinematography, the acting, like the story, everything.
You like it so much about you, Mary. What were some of the things that really struck out to you, like specifically? I think you mentioned the lighting before. Let's talk about the lighting.
So, in the movie, what I kind of found was that they played a lot with light. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if this was intentional. I would assume it might have been intentional. Mm-hmm. But every time that they were in the house, it was really dark and gloomy and eerie. But then once he would step out into, say, like the supermarket, for example, or like the clothing store where he bought his new clothes, it was this like bright fluorescent light. And even though it was bright, it was still almost an eerie bright. That fluorescent, like uncomfortable, not really warm.
Because I think it fit the tone.
Not homey. Yeah. It really did. And so I think they really, really utilized light to give more of a feel.
Yeah, and I think that's something a lot of filmmakers need to study from this film. Light and mood, tone, it's all symbolic with the elements of your film. Yeah. And this film really excelled in that. And also, I think the special effects, the surrealism, all the, supernatural elements, majority of it that was in 3D or, animated, it really pushed the film even more than just a horror movie. I think we had a little debate that I call this film a supernatural drama. That's my opinion. I'm sticking to it. But you said it's more of a horror, scare?
Yeah, I would say it's a horror, scary movie, but it was so much more than that. And I think that's why I liked it so much, is because, yes, there were like thrilling, elements to it and things that make you jump and you're like, oh, what's that? It's a monster. But like, it's also like, there's this deep story, the story of being a refugee, trying to adjust to a new life in a Western world, trying to, be born again is something that they kept saying throughout the movie. And so it was there is just so much to unpack with this one.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think you brought like this the immigrant experience, refugee experience, going to another country. Yeah. Specifically, I believe this was in from the South Sudan.
South Sudan, yeah.
To London. So I think the scene that really struck me was with the boys, the kids that were like, shoot. That's why I'm talking to him. It's it's when the boys were out in the parking lot. She was looking for directions to get back home, and then they start heckling her. Like, first the boy said, "Oh, hey, get your auntie," and then the other guy started making fun of her accent. And
Speak English. You're in London now. Yeah.
Let me tell you something. I felt some type of way. We both felt some type of
It angered me.
Yeah.
This common experience that I think immigrants face is, people who look just like them, are discriminating against them. Like go back to Africa because you have an accent.
Like your mom came from Africa.
Yeah. It's really upsetting. And thinking back to as a kid, for example, kids would make fun of people with accents. When you had that substitute teacher in school who was Indian or Pakistani or African and they had an accent, you're like, haha, he says this like this. So what? It doesn't diminish how smart it doesn't, They know more than one language, apparently. Exactly, yeah. So, someone having an accent doesn't mean that they're not educated or not good enough or whatever. They're just different from you.
Yeah.
And so, I think that scene really showcased how other she felt.
I like how you point out from the line in the beginning of the film where they were getting surveyed or audited before they got their home. I don't know if that's the correct term to put it, or interviewed when they first moved to their home.
We want to be specific about who this person. So they were basically officers in a sense, or the gatekeepers, if you will, who interviewed immigrants as they're coming into the country. And so they are, I don't know what I would call the camp that they were at before even getting into London.
It was trash, that's what it was.
Yeah, so they're in these kind of dormitories, and then from the dormitory you then move either back to where you came from or to into Europe, into London in this case. So so one of the, I guess, officers or people
in charge.
Yeah.
But it's the line that you said, or you pointed out in the beginning, where the guy says, whether or not you are good people, it's not for me who needs convincing. And actually, literally went over my head. The first 2 times I watched this movie.
I caught it. The first time I watched it, when he said that line, I was like, that's interesting. Why would he? Who needs convincing? And once I finished the full movie, I'm like, oh, it's them, themselves, who need convincing. It's them because I don't want to give away the full story, but I mean, I guess we should give away when we're reviewing the movie. So.
We usually do anyway.
But yeah, I mean, the fact that they had both played a part in taking something that wasn't theirs in order to gain and get their freedom. It was almost as if there's another line at the end of the movie where he says, I had to face myself to get over my demons.
Preach on it.
And so, it's that other idea of going back to what the gatekeeper said in the beginning of, it's not me who needs convincing. He needed to convince himself and face himself that he is a good person. He is trying to start anew. Even though he did something terrible in order to gain his freedom. So.
Oh, dang. Should we give that away, what he did, or keep that a secret?
I want them to watch the movie. So.
Okay. Yeah, she really enjoyed this movie.
I really did. Seriously, guys. I'm like, I want everyone to go see this. You have to go anywhere. It's on Netflix, so.
No, I think one of my highlights, and y'all know I love fantasy. So when I believe it was the Apeth, the Night Witch, or the Spirit came out, that was a big scene for me. Just tackling those supernatural elements in this, horror film, or supernatural drama. I think it added more elements to a lot of black. I feel like it just added another element to black film, and I think we saw it. We kind of seen that with the previous film we reviewed, Bad Hair. We see a lot of experimentation going on, and I think that is a great thing. And then and one thing I learned is just everything takes trial and error. Not every film is gonna meet our or anybody's standard.
It's not always gonna land.
Yeah, it's not always gonna hit. But guess what? When you consistently do it, And you also have people that watch these films, filmmakers, say, okay, I see what you did there. I feel like I can do this and maybe swing it my way that may gain better reception. And, you know, I think that's just the whole thing. And we just have to continue to go see these movies.
And also just like kind of, we were talking about this on a previous episode about just showcasing Black people in a lot of different lights, you know. We're not like a monolith. There's so many different stories. There's so many different types of Black people. We're not just one way. We don't have the same story.
What type of Black person are you?
But thanks for watching. We will see you next time.
At the wind down.
At the movies.